Welcome to STARCARD Podcast. Here at STARCARD Podcast, we get a glimpse at the age of Aquarius ahead of us. My name is Breakaway Ray. You've tuned into a live tarot throw on December 20th, 2025. We got a little problem with the chat on the platform. I'm going to continue the program as usual, and we're going to sort out what's going on and make sure we have tarot for the audience at the end of the show. But for now, if anyone's going to tune in or if you're watching the recording, I hope you enjoy. It's 7 Card Saturday. We're going to throw 7 cards to see what message the tarot world has for you this Saturday or whenever you're tuning in, because the tarot world wanted you to see this message whenever you're tuning in. We're going to show you all the decks that are in play. Again, we're going to sort out the chat thing. We're going to get tarot for the audience going. We're going to check that in about 30 or 35 minutes. But then we're also going to visit with my spirit guide again. We're going to have story time with the Convoluted Autobiography and learn more about my spirit guide or myself. We'll try to figure it out together. We'll invite the tarot world to tell us more. Meanwhile, everybody, let's get you your 7 cards this Saturday. Let's go to the tarot cam. Looks like I'm recording, so that part might be working right. Again, we're going to sort out that chat situation. In any case, if you're tuning in, these are the decks that are available. We have the Robin Wood Tarot. We have the Gold Foil Tarot, very traditional decks. We have the Classic Tarot, the one with all the words on it, because I've only been throwing cards since March. This helps me learn the cards in a hurry. In case you're interested in learning tarot yourself, I've got the Lost Soul Tarot. I got the Ethereal Bloom Tarot, one of my favorites right here. And, well, they're all my favorites, aren't they? Here's the Neon Tarot, very striking, dramatic imagery. We have underneath here the Old Style Tarot and the Stained Glass Tarot. And, of course, we have the Giant Mermaid Tarot box sitting on top. All right, so we're going to move these out of the way. We're going to go right to the Robin Wood Tarot and get you your 7 cards on 7 Card Saturday. Again, so sorry, everybody, that the chat's not working right now. We'll sort that out in a little bit. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, I know. I'm all upset that the chat isn't working. We're going to sort that out in about 25 or 30 minutes. I don't know if it's working for you. It's not working for me. Anyway, let's go to 7 Card Saturday. Here we go. How about a fun, inspirational message this last Saturday before the Christmas holiday, huh? Wow, it's going to be a special day. Special day shopping, I suppose, for people who are trying to catch up. I'm sure the tarot world has an uplifting reminder for us on this final Saturday before the Christmas holiday. Or whenever you're catching this message, here's 7 cards for you. I'm not used to throwing 7. Yeah, well, let's spread them out. I'm not used to coming out on Saturday. Here I am, everybody. That card has a bend in it. I can feel it, and I don't remember which card it is. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7. Here we go. It's 7 Card Saturday. First up, the 6 of Swords in this hustle and bustle time, this holiday season, everybody. It's good to remember that we're being guided to calmer waters from rougher waters by an invisible hand. The spirit world is guiding us. And look, I love the Robin Wood Tarot. On this 6 of Swords card, you could see the ghost in the back of the boat. Yeah. That is kind of a cool boat. It looks like a giant swan. I'd like to go to that amusement park. All right. Moving on. Oh, how lovely. Well, as long as we're keeping the theme of the holidays, here's the Ace of Cups representing new life. There's lots of people who celebrate the holiday and celebrate the new life. I mean, it almost looks like a little star at the top of a tree, only it's at the top of a cup, right? Okay. And then I guess we're going to keep on going with the holiday theme. Keep it going. It's the Queen of Cups. So this is like being at grandma's house for the holidays. Warm feelings, abundance, plenty of comfort, plenty of empathy. Everyone understands each other. Everyone feels good. Sweet. Let's keep it going. We still got 4 more cards. Let's not force feed us all the good parts first, right? I don't want to see Well, anyway, let's find out what happens. You got to go with the flow. That's the whole point. Come on, Breakaway Ray. You know better than that. Next up, yay, the Seven of Pentacles. We worked hard to cultivate this special holiday. A lot of us were shopping for gifts all year round, or at least thinking of it. What could I get that person at the end of the year? Some of you were thinking about that in August. So anyway, it paid off. You explored and you were prepared. Okay, you got ahead of the game. That's like my favorite thing to do, is to get ahead of the game. All right. And then while you were doing that, the Two of Pentacles says you were balancing things. Someone might have been on to your your gift giving idea, and you're all, I don't know what you're talking about, and you played it cool and you kept it under wraps. Nicely done, Two of Pentacles. Nice balancing act. And now you present the gift of the Ace of Pentacles. And then you get to look at that person smile and see their eyes light up from your generosity. Happy holidays, everybody. Merry breakaways. You're watching STARCARD Podcast. All right. The STAR card represents rejuvenation and inspiration. I love the message, Tarot World. Thank you very much. We're going to give these cards a toss. I guess I'm going to periodically offer my apologies. I'm not quite sure why the chat's not working. We're going to check it out in about 25 or 30 minutes, but I'm going to go on with my regular show. Okay, I think in 25 or 30 minutes, we'll reopen and we'll see if we can get a chat that way. But if you're anxious for a chat, everybody, there is... Sorry. If you're anxious for a reading, everybody, in case something goes wrong today and I can't do it for you over the internet like this in the chat, well, in the description, you would find my email address. You would also find it in the description at StarCard Podcast. Now, the description in this video is blank. I have to fill it in later because I started this one over because the first one wasn't working and the second one's not optimum. We're going to keep on going, everybody. I'm now going to talk to you more about my spirit guides. I want to show you. As usual, I prepare before I turn on the camera. I prepared unknowingly by writing this gigantic autobiography called the Convoluted Autobiography. Turns out lots of helpful information. Now, if you're interested in your spirit guide, learning more about that person, or maybe you're interested in hiring a psychic for yourself and you want to know what it's like, okay, that's why this book is valuable. There's several psychics that I interviewed. I transcribed my interviews with them. I learned from them. And some of those times they were talking about my spirit guide or more than one of them. That's right. There could be more than one. I wasn't aware that I had one. Okay. And then I found out there could be like a whole bunch of them. Anyway, let me check my notes, make sure I don't get confused. Here we go. Okay. So in the last episode of StarCard Podcast, the one subtitled Dragon in the Sky, I read from the Convoluted Autobiography a chapter called Dragon in the Sky. I didn't read all of it. It was part of my interview with the reincarnated mystic. Her name is Diet, and I think she's out in Utah. Very nice lady. I'm not sure she does readings anymore. I think she only trains classes. Anyway, I transcribed her interview, and in that interview, she presented my spirit guide. And let me see if I've got this right here. He was an ascendant master. And maybe I'm stringing things together, but he was an ascendant master, but maybe from Arcturus. Maybe he was an Arcturian. And, this stuff is all new to me, everybody. I'm trying really hard to catch on and keep up to date. But this Arcturian could be of a very high dimension, like an 8th or 9th dimension. And so when he was in connection with Diet, the reincarnated mystic, he had to use an avatar that was scaled down a couple of dimensions to make that communication. And apparently they chose the form of an Anunnaki. That's what Diet started with, if you recall. She said, he looks like an Anunnaki, but he's not an Anunnaki. And I kind of put it together that the Arcturian was using the Anunnaki just to scale down the communication to make sure it got to me through Diet, the reincarnated mystic. And then before I talked about that ascendant master using the Anunnaki body as an avatar, okay, I did tell you about, I used my own imagination, and I came up with an imagined spirit guide in the form of the actor Pierce Brosnan from the James Bond movies. So that's 2 versions of my spirit guide so far. One I came up with, one that Diet presented me with, but then there's this other guy. He's a Roman soldier, and this guy, the Roman soldier guy, was identified by all of these people: Tina Slade, Diet, Psychic Liz Cross. I wonder if there's another one, but there's at least 3 different people who are not in communication with one another, who didn't know about the Roman soldier guy that was my spirit guide, but they all identified him. Okay. And then, of course, me being such the skeptic, I qualified my comment and I said, yo, come on, Breakaway Ray. I'm talking to myself, right? So, yo, Breakaway Ray, come on. Maybe they just saw that you desire to have a Roman soldier as a guide. And I explained in the last video why I think it sounded like a good idea. I think you can actually catch some of my interview with Psychic Liz Cross. It's one of the very first long ones. I think it was Target Karma. I think it might have been Target Karma. If you go to the Psychic Liz Cross playlist at StarCard Podcast, it's a longer video. It's almost an hour, I think. But Target Karma, I think, is the one where she talks about, my spirit guides. But anyway, let's move on here. So that's 3 different versions of my spirit guide. And if you remember, now to go back, so we have Pierce Brosnan, who's in my book. We have the Roman soldier guy, who always seems to be hanging around. And then we have the Ascendant Master dude, who came down from Arcturus to inhabit an Anunnaki body just so that he could mentally communicate to the psychic I was speaking with, right? And then the message that Ascendant Master gave me, and I wrote it down so I don't mess it up, right? I'm supposed to remember the time before religion. Okay. I don't know how I'm supposed to know that I'm supposed to remember the time before religion. But anyway, that's what my spirit guide was reminding me to do. He's all, yo, remember the time before religion? Not really, but tell me about it. And he did. And he explained that in the beginning, there was order and chaos, and they were energies. And order, let's see if I got this right, when order got the upper hand over chaos, chaos became suppressed, and chaos then became part of what became feminine. So if you remember last time in StarCard Podcast, I mentioned that I was speaking about religion and genders. I really want to leave like the differences between male and female to the professional comedians. That's who I want to hear from. I don't have personal experience with this stuff, and yet I'm supposed to remember all this stuff. So anyway, the message was, I'm supposed to remember the time before religion when order got the upper hand over chaos. And Diet also said, I asked, what did I come to this earth for? It's always entertaining to hear what these psychics have to say. And what she said to me was, I was here to understand religious constraints. That was in a different interview, by the way. So I was here to understand religious constraints. And if you think in the religion that I grew up with, Roman Catholicism, the gender roles were very neatly delineated. So anyway, I want to mention that whole part first before I get to this part. So now I'm going to read to you from the Convoluted Autobiography from my transcript with Margie K. This was a second interview with Margie K. And I believe she introduces me to Claudius. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to show you where I'm going to read. I got this section blocked off right here. And I think I stopped like right over here somewhere. So not too long, but just some information to hear what my spirit guide has to say. Maybe it should mean more to me than to the spectator. But if you've watched more than one StarCard podcast, you might be able to follow along and say, I get where this guy is coming from if he's trying to, give important information to Breakaway Ray. So let's see how I can set up here because it's daylight in California, huh? I've been sleeping in, huh? I don't think so. Okay. Let me try one more light, everybody. And then we're going to throw tarot cards. And then we'll probably have to end this meeting and try one more meeting to see if I can get a chat going, right? See if I can get tarot readings for the audience. See if this one works better. Well, I like it better. There we go. Okay, everybody. So this is from May of 2024. It's myself and Margie Kay in a video conference, and I start off. Here I go. I get to do an impression of myself. This is awesome. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. So I have some ideas about some other lifetimes I've had, and I thought I'd ask you, maybe Spirit wants to show me a particular lifetime I had that's going to serve me at this time. Here's Margie Kay. Okay, so what's popping up right now is during Roman times, you were a soldier, and you have a guide with you right now who is a soldier with you, but they did not reincarnate. They stayed with your soul through your many lifetimes. So they're acting as a guardian, and they're saying war is pointless. Don't ever go to war again, is what they're saying. But the skills that you learn then, you can manifest, bring that to you again as self-defense. So these skills are good to have. You only pull them out when it's needed, right? And then I say, yeah, awesome. And then Margie Kay says, yeah, and he says he's going to back you up. He wants to give me a name of Claudius. I ask, whose name is that? She says, that's your guide. I say, that's his name? She says, that's your Roman guide, Claudius. And I say, all right, it's about time he told me his name. I've known he's there for a couple of years, but I also know he's like one guy. There's a couple, aren't there? Margie Kay says, oh, no, there's several. You've got grandparents on both sides of the family or great-grandparents that are there, and they just seem to stay with families and give you advice once in a while. They talk into your ears at night when you're asleep. You got a couple of ET guides. What species are they? I ask. They're more like high-energy, interdimensional beings. They wear white robes. They're telling me Arcturus. Oh, I say. She says, okay, and they have been with you for multiple lifetimes. You were originally from there before you came to the earth, before you came here to have a human experience. So you're here to have the gamut of human experiences, but that's leading up to right now, so that you can help other people understand what's coming. Great, I say. Do you think that I have a tie to the Sirius system at all? Margie Kay says, I'm hearing yes. There is also a connection to Sirius, Sirius A and Sirius B. They're saying both. Sirius B is a water planet, so you have an attraction to water. That's why, and you need to have water. You need to have it nearby and go visit it. That's part of your soul that you need to have that. Excellent, I say. I'm dabbling a little bit. You mentioned sharing information, and I've been putting together a little bit of writing. I'm wondering if anyone would like to comment on, the little project I'm working on, because it feels like I'm getting some help. Margie Kay says, oh, they're saying you are getting some help. They're giving you ideas, sending messages to you telepathically about what to write. So this is important. You need to keep doing that, and at some point publish, okay? So you're going to be collecting some experiences for a little while and then publish, but this information coming in, this is from source. This is coming in direct through your crown chakra, through your higher self, and you're tapping into the Akashic record when you do this. Wow, I say. She says, yeah, they want this information out. It's directly from Spirit. I say, brava, thank you very much. And she says, okay, well, thank you, Ray. Good luck to you. All right. So we're going to close up this part of the show probably by inviting the tarot world to comment on that exchange I had with my spirit guide and the psychic. And as we've seen in the last couple of episodes, there's been a couple of psychics giving me different perspectives. So that's something to keep in mind. I mean, I guess when you have like several things out on the table, you can use discernment better and you can pick out what matches up the best. All these psychics are really great. They're really on it. But then at the same time, if you only have like one or two samples, discernment becomes more of a problem, right? It's 50-50. it's one or the other. It's kind of like the old United States election thing. It's one party or the other party. But having a plurality, you can refine your choices. But anyway, let's go to the tarot cards. Let's see what the tarot world has to say. And then we'll try and turn on the recording one more time, see if there's any way I could do tarot for the audience. I think there's something wrong with the platform, okay? Because I'm seeing the message here. Something went wrong on, you know what tube it is. Okay, let's go back downstairs to the tarot camp. I'm having a problem with one of my monitors. Anyway, let's go down here. I had to order a new, what do you call those hub things? Because mine only lasts like a couple of months, and then you got to buy a new one. That's not, all right, anyway, don't get sidetracked, Breakaway Ray. We're throwing cards here. Okay, hey, Tarot World, we were just talking about connecting with our spirit guides, using discernment. I mean, come on, people watching StarCard podcast, they're watching some dude who's throwing cards on the internet. That doesn't sound like you're going to get factual information. So maybe you have a plan or some advice about how we can all use discernment and listen for messages from our spirit guides, which is why, everybody, I'm trying so hard to go psychic myself so I can get a clearer answer. All these cards fell on the floor. Something's going on. I think the tarot world's anxious to talk to us. Let's get these sorted. I see I have a handful of viewers. I want to thank you for tuning in. I feel your support, everybody. Thank you very much. Thanks for tuning into the recording. I appreciate it so much. If you have not subscribed to StarCard Podcast, I invite you to. And now we're going to invite the tarot world to comment on connecting with spirit guides with the aid of psychic. Ooh, going this way. Yeah. Connecting to spirit guides with the aid of a psychic. All right, one more. All right, I got a little upside down message here. This is for entertainment purposes only. I'm glad you feel entertained enough to watch my show. Thanks a lot. So we're going to start here with an overview card, which I threw last. Yay. The Four of Swords talks about rejuvenation and also talks about meditation. So maybe the crispest, clearest communication is going to come right from meditation. Wow. And then the Moon card talks about illusion and mystery also, because you're going into the inner world and intuition. The Two of Pentacles, you got the one world going on, but you really got to cultivate and develop your inner world, everybody. Two of Pentacles, juggling more than one thing at a time. Yay. But don't forget to have fun. Be courageous, be determined. Don't forget to have fun. The Queen of Wands says you have to have a zest for life. You're not, go ahead and listen to the Psychic Duck in the video that I published just this past week. She has some good information about exploring past lives. But when you go for your spirit guide, you got to have the right mindset. I'm doing this to learn about my mission. My mission here is to have fun and to relish life and to thrive. So those are the experiences, and that's the wisdom that I'm looking for when I consult with my spirit guides. I don't need a spirit guide to give me a hard time and remind me about how everything is pretty much making me miserable. I don't need that spirit guide, okay? I could do that part all by myself. So I'm going to be listening for the one who's going to speak to me in a positive way, in a constructive way. Yeah, and then when I do that, I'm being responsible. This card, the Queen of Pentacles, talks about being a responsible parent, okay? And also, you could also look at it and say, it looks like a spirit guide realizing how precious we are down here on earth and tending to us carefully, like a responsible working parent who's courageous and determined and balancing more than one life at a time because they have a rich inner life. Let me throw one more card. Hey, everybody, when you do that and you find your spirit guide, you might just be surprised, says the Page of Cups. It's the happy surprise guy. So right now, I'm going to take a time out and let you meditate on that message. I've got someone trying to get a hold of me. I just need to check that message. Please stand by. Well, everybody, I got to find my phone. Go with the flow, everybody. It doesn't look like I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make a second video today. I have a message and it looks like I might be off campus. Let's put it that way. I want to wish everyone a happy weekend. Thanks for joining me for my show today. And, if you subscribe and hit the notifications button, you'll know when I come back on. It might be in a little bit. I'm just not sure what's going on. I got to turn off the camera and find out. Don't want to take up any more of your precious time, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sharing and subscribing. All right. Have a good one. See you later.